Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing Trump and we're discussing the incoming administration's need to understand family-based immigration is a very different thing from other areas of the immigration experience, if you will. What am I talking about here? Well, first of all, understand that in the past Trump administration, in my opinion, they just sort of struck out at all the worst elements of immigration. First of all, especially with Stephen Miller, they did a ton of things to the legal immigration system that I felt were both unnecessary, violated basic notions of due process, and quite frankly, were also kind of cowardly. And what do I mean? Well, they had 2 years to pass comprehensive immigration reform. I discussed that in another video recently, and I discussed that at the time. Trump had 2 years with the Republican Congress to go ahead and try to get immigration legislation passed. It didn't happen. Now, I kind of give Trump a bit of a pass for that for a couple of reasons. One, he was coming in, it was his first 2 years, he was a bit inexperienced. And by a bit, I mean he'd never been part of the federal infrastructure at all up to that point and just entered in as president. He didn't know where the levers were. Carter was actually kind of similar in his term of office. Secondly, he had a lot of folks, including within his own part, there's a difference between Trump and the Republican Party. You need to understand that to understand the American sort of political machinations as they play out. So understand that first. But he got a bunch of blowback from his own party and from the so-called deep state, you know, the bureaucrats that are sort of embedded in the American bureaucracy. He got a bunch of pushback and was not able to make a lot of inroads there. Point I'm trying to make is this time around, especially these first 2 years, he's got a genuine mandate to do anything about immigration, do something about immigration. My hope is, rather than fighting over the nitpickety fine points of these different visas like this H-1B kerfuffle that has come up here recently, that's not the point. We need to throw out the entire old system and write a new body of law, comprehensive immigration law, to deal with the new reality of immigration, most notably the fact we've been invaded for the past 4 years and have had effectively no southern border or no southern border security that I've particularly seen, which has led to horrors in terms of trafficking of women and children and all kinds of stuff, to say nothing of the fact that invasion of our country undermines our country. That's setting that aside to itself. That being said, again, the big thing I hope out of this administration is, one, they will understand the difference between legal and illegal immigration, which illegal immigration could also be defined as invasion. They will understand the difference between those things and also understand there's a fundamental difference between family-based immigration, especially family of American citizens, versus things like employment immigration, such as the H-1B visa, for example. Because again, I think that those need to be viewed differently. You know, a person who marries somebody who's from abroad and wants to bring them to the United States, that's a very different thing from a corporation that wants to bring in foreign labor. It's not the same analysis. It's apples and bowling balls, to use a term I've heard in the past. Point I'm trying to make is I very much hope the Trump administration understands these differences, understands these nuances, and goes after the problems in the immigration system, but doesn't throw the baby out with the bathwater and cause problems for legitimate legal immigrants who are family members of American citizens and lawful permanent residents.